Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Monster Hunter. I'm HazzD. Last time we went out and cooked some meat. This time we're going to go out and gather some items. But first I want to come over here and talk to this lady. Hello. Oh, hello. What would you like today? We have all kinds of wonderful items. Last time you may have noticed I came over here to sell my coot scales. This time we're going to... Okay, that NPC just walked straight through me. Lovely. Anyway, this time we're going to buy some items. As you can see, she's got a lot of items for sale. This first page are items that are going to be used for the mechanic I'm going to be explaining next episode. We can finally talk about it. These fish, they're also used for that, so they're just something I'll explain next episode, to be prepared for that. These two pages are tools, so these are things you can use out on your quest. These are pretty standard ones. These are ones that are used for hunting the bigger monsters. They're normally used for trapping them or just knocking a large amount of health off. Like these bombs, they take large amounts of health off. I'll explain and use those later. This is where you can buy a lot of different bullets. So you can have some varying ones here. You've got status effects ones, so the poison, stun, sleep ones. Crag and pellets. I'll explain the level thing later on, but for now, that's there. You can also buy binoculars if you really want to, even though they're worthless to sell back and they're in every chest when you start a quest. So why you would buy those, I have no idea. But what we're here to buy are iron pickaxes and bug nets. Pickaxes are used for mining and bug nets are used for catching bugs, obviously. I'm going to buy 3 of them because I want to save at least some money for later on, because I want to buy something at the end of this episode. So now that we've done that, I want to head out. Actually, first, what I want to do is I want to go over all of the weapons that we could have made after we got small monster bones and mystery bones. So, cutting away. Okay, and now that that's done, I want to come over to the village chief and talk to him. Hello. Right. What's our next 1-star quest? Searching for items. It's in the forest and hills again. We want to deliver 2 herbs and 1 spiderweb. Forgot to mention, you can go over to that item vendor and buy 2 herbs and a spiderweb from her. So this entire quest can be really short if you just buy them there and then go into the quest and put them in the box. Speedrunners, be aware of this. This is the quickest way to do this quest, and if anyone wants to just get through this quest without having to do all the hassle of finding them, this is a way to do it. The village chief gave us this quest. You can find all sorts of useful items during the hunt, or you can buy them at the vendor, because for some reason they didn't think that through. Search around and bring me 2 herbs and spiderwebs. Okay, should be pretty simple, so let's head out. Sorry about that cut there, had to cut away really quickly, but for now let's go to this chest and pick up our items. So, this quest, it's going to be all about gathering, so we've got a couple, well, we've got one new area we can visit, which is Area 6 there. You can see it sticks off from Area 2. And also, I'm going to go up to Area 3 and show that off, because we didn't go there last time, because there wasn't much of a reason to go there. This time I do have an excuse, even though it's not a very good one, since I can do what I'm going there to do a lot quicker, if that made sense to anyone. But anyway, let's head on up there. So, as normal, I would suggest you pick up the coot scales from those rocks. I'm not going to do that on camera because it would waste your time, and that wisdom of the chief keeps updating. Very irritating. But anyway, what I'm going to do is run all the way through here, head out the other side. There is another plant node just by that tree there, if you're interested. Just make note of that, since I'm running through. Okay. Here is Area 3. It's a long area where you will face a lot of the bigger monsters. There's a plant by that tree there, if you're interested. It's normally inhabited by herbivores, unless the quest demands it to be empty or be full of something or other. I don't know, maybe some smaller monster that's just going to get in your way. But we'll get into that later on. As I always say, that has literally become my catchphrase for these first few episodes. I'll explain it later. Basically what I'm here for are these herbs. This is a place where you can always get herbs. This won't change, but as you may have noticed, in some of the areas there are places where in this quest it is changed to herb. Some of these plants, I think this one might be it. As you noticed earlier on, those plants were supposed to have things like huskberries and like this before, but in the second episode I was getting herbs. from one of these. That doesn't normally happen, I don't think, unless my information is wrong. So, yeah, that's the reason I wanted to come here instead of just picking them up off that tree, because they always spawn here and it's a good source of them. The reason why herbs are good, I'll explain later. They are a consumable, so if I take damage, it will heal off just a little bit of health, but they can be used for something a lot better later on, which I will explain. And I've just realised that I completely forgot to go over bug nets, so I'll have to do that on the way back. Hopefully I won't have to cut back to that because I forget twice in a row, but never mind. In the first area, there is somewhere where we can use that. I'll explain it on the way back. So, what I'm going to do is crouch down here and find nothing. That doesn't mean that there is nothing there to search for. It just means you didn't find anything that time. Didn't get any item. But normally what you find here is ivy. Ivy can be a very useful item for what we're going to explain in the next episode. There is a lot of stuff in this episode I'm going to say next episode for, because really the reason you collect up items is either for one thing, what I'm going to explain next episode, or for crafting and making better weapons. So, that's the reason for that. Now that we're in our new area, Area 6, you can see we've got a new creature and some cliffs. So, what I'm going to do now is explain this creature here. It is a moss swine. They are wild pigs covered in moss and fungus. Sometimes you even find mushrooms growing on them. Their meat is known as a delicacy. Though normally docile, they will charge if angered. So basically these are herbivores that if I hit them with my sword, like that, they will get annoyed and they will charge at me. Like this. They're very easy to dodge, as you can see. I'm just standing there. They will charge at me. But if I cut them down, they will give me either raw meat, which is known as a delicacy apparently. Who knew? Pork is a delicacy. Or it'll give you a blue mushroom. They only have one carve on them. So they're not exactly the most useful source for things like raw meat and blue mushrooms. There are better sources, but if you're looking for those items and you can't find them, that's a very good place to get them. I don't know if I mentioned it, but if you press X near a ledge or some vines, you will climb them. So just be aware of that. This may take a while getting up here because, one, it's very slow to climb. In later games you can actually press R2 to sprint climb, or speed climb I guess it is, to get up faster, but in this game you never really have to do that. So basically we're just going to run at these ledges and climb up. Here we go, and right at the top we're going to find the other item we came here for, which is spider webs. Spider webs, this is one of the few places you find them. They are a very useful item actually. Again, like ivy, they're an item that we're going to use next episode probably, and I'll just explain and show off what their proper use is, because they are used for something very, very important, something that will make your life a lot easier later on if you collect them. So I suggest having a small stockpile of them just in your chest. Even if you plan to speed run this, I would suggest just having them, even though you can buy them back at the village. I'll just suggest having them because they're very useful. As you can see, we've lost a bit of health, so what I'm going to do is press square to consume a herb, heal up a bit. Just wanted to show off that's how consumable items work when it comes to health. You have to stand there for a few seconds and heal up, so be aware you won't instantly heal. Okay, I just randomly accidentally hit square there, and I used up a mini whetstone that resharpens your weapon, as I explained. I can't believe I've done that twice now. I don't know if there's something wrong with my L2 button, but what I wanted to get out was my iron pickaxe and come over here. As you can see, when an item is not usable, it'll have that red X over it, but when it is usable, it will turn to its regular item, and you can press square to mine. So there we go, I've got iron ore. This is one of those items where, after getting it, or getting access to it, will unlock so many items for you to use that is amazing. As you saw, my pickaxe broke. There is a chance that your pickaxe will break over time, so, well, not over time, just randomly it will break. It may be after the first use of it, it may be after like the 10th, or it may be one of those legendary pickaxes which never break for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. Basically, the way it works is that the better the pickaxe, so as you may have seen, there was old pickaxe, old bug net, they break more often than the better ones, so the iron pickaxe and the bug net. I can't remember if the the even higher version of it is in this game, but if it is, I'll leave an annotation on now to say whether or not it is. But what I want to do now is come over here to, where is it? Here it is, where these glowing bugs are, to press square. Collect up some bugs. Bitter bug, again, it's one of those items like spiderwebs and ivy. It's used for something that I'll explain next episode. So now that we've got a horde of things to use next episode and we've completed this quest, I'm going to head over there and finish this off. So, well, not finish off the episode, but finish off what we're doing right now, because there's not a lot left for us to do out here, and there's a couple of things I want to do when I get back to the village. That was a mouthful and said very quickly. I apologise. So yeah, hopefully these episodes are starting to get shorter, and I don't mean that like they're getting really short, but they're not filled with so many tutorials, and I apologise about that, but this game is so heavy in tutorials towards the beginning, and literally you just have to explain them then and there, or it will bog down later episodes. After the first 5 quests, or 6 quests, it's pretty much clean sailing from there. There's pretty much not a lot to explain, and if there is, it's going to be like 30 seconds of explaining. So there we go, completed our 3rd quest. I had to think about it. Even though we've done 1 quest per episode, and this is our 3rd episode, I had to think about it. Wow. Never mind, we're heading back to the village. Here we go. Okay, and we're back in the village. On the quest, I said I wanted to do something when I get back to the village, and that is to come over to here and upgrade my weapon. So what I want to do is I want to upgrade it to a Hunter's Knife Plus. This will cost me 1 piece of iron ore and 660 Zenny or Z. The way this works, you have to have the items in your inventory. I don't know why they did it this way and didn't just have it, oh, you have to have the items in your box or whatever, which is the way they do it in later games. That 0 that you see, that is how many of that item you have in your chest, and that will be either grey if you don't have enough items, it'll be orange if you have enough items but they're in your chest, and it'll be white if they're in your inventory. So I know it's a bit of a weird thing, but never mind. Let's upgrade our weapon. It's going to go up by it's going to go up by about 20, 30, I'd say. I can't quite figure it out, even though I did maths as an A-level. I can't figure that out. I can't do 112 minus 84. Never mind, there we go. As you can see, it hasn't really changed a lot, but that's not really a problem, since normally these weapons are going stages. So you have the base weapon of that, and then you have a plus version of it, or you'll have one with a slightly different name. But as I can show now, this now branches into 2 different parts. You can turn it into 2 different weapons. You can keep going down the standard path, or you can start adding creatures parts to it. So a Velociprey, which is a creature we've yet to meet, and we will meet in a few episodes. We can upgrade this weapon again once we've got those parts, so that'll be pretty awesome. And there you go, you can see when it's grey, it means you haven't got that item, and when it's orange, it means you have enough, but it's in your chest. Okay, and I think there's one more thing I want to show off before I end off this episode, and that is all the weapons you can now make now that you have iron ore and earth crystals, which is another thing you can mine from that point. So okay, and there we go. Now that we've done that, I think it's a good place to end off, since we've now explained and shown off a lot of the weapons that are now available to us. I think I've shown off the major bulk, and they will come in a lot slower now, since after getting the small monster bones and the iron ore, that is one of the biggest jumps you're ever going to have when it comes to weapons and armor. There are a couple more coming up, but they won't be for a little bit, and I'll try and space those out a bit more. I wanted to have the bone ones a little bit earlier on, but the earlier episodes were just so long that it would just make those episodes monsters. So there we go, we are now done for this episode, so thank you very much for joining me for Let's Play Monster Hunter. Next time we'll be doing another quest, obviously, so until next time, like, comment, subscribe and all the other good stuff. I've been HazzD, and I will see you next time.